Hey, what's going on? This is Jim with Real World PDR. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to switch up my style here and hopefully it's going to provide higher quality content. We're going to take a look at this Chevy Colorado fender and we're going to take a look at some inside of the panel stand liner work because a lot of you have asked for it. So let's get this thing going right now. So this is the damage that we're looking at. It's nothing too incredible. You've seen me fix way worse stuff before, but it's still got some really tricky parts to it. So on realworldpdr.com, I'll teach you how to look at these things and how to develop a plan in your head. Since this is YouTube content, we probably won't be doing that today. But as you can see here, I've got a body line that's in play. I've got this bracing right here that you can see on the screen. Now, first thing I'm going to do is a little unorthodox. Now check it out. I just turned my glue gun on. Now this stand liner tool, if you throw some hot glue on it, what you get is a super soft push. So I'm also going to be thinking about attacking these crowns and attacking that body line because remember that body line is going to want to work with me. Now, the purpose of using that hot glue is to make sure that I'm not messing up this dent more than I have to while I'm working on it. So if I just attack this thing straight away with something too hard, what's going to end up happening, I'm going to start chewing it up and giving a lot of unneeded texture on this thing. So there I am. You can see I'm using some of that rolling technique and some direct push here with the stand liner tool. I just got a nice little pop out of that. Not always what I'm looking for, but in this particular instance, not so bad really. So I'm not going to overwork this panel with anything soft. That is a mistake that a lot of people make. You generally, you get a little bit more bold, a little bit emboldened because you have that soft tip and people want to over push and cause problems. So you can see there's not a huge difference here. All I've done is I've gotten a lot of the meat, the belly of that dent to come up using that stand liner with the hot glue on it. Another option would be something like this. This is a tool from Edgy Tools if you didn't have something with that stand liner bend like I do. Also, we're going to take a look at a whole bunch of different knockdowns here. Now, they are all good for their own purpose. I'm not sure which one I'm going to start with, but generally when I'm working with crowns like this and I'm doing it with a knockdown as opposed to a hammer, I'm going to want to use something flattish. Well, there you go. That's why I chose this Edgy Tools tip here. I don't remember what it's called. Look it up. So from this Edgy Tools tip, I'm going to go to one of the VIP soft tips. Now, yes, it's a lot like the VIP, not the VIP, but the Revolution PDR tips that you know that I had a hand in making with Mike Casper. Now, that being said, they're still really good. Now, the story behind that is apparently he had those prototype for a long time. We just beat them to the market. He went ahead and released them, but he did add another smaller size, which is really handy. The one I'm using here is the green size, and it's somewhere between the smallest one from Revolution and the medium-sized one. So they do kind of stagger, so you could have them all, and they would make sense at that point. They move metal very, very similar to the Revolution tips. Not a whole lot of difference that I can tell. I mean, frankly, it's leather on a tip, right? So for those of you that are students at realworldpdr.com, what you will see, and you'll know that I'm doing here, is I'm working on replacing some of that displaced metal. So at this point, what I'm trying to do is get as much of this damage to repair itself, so to say. Then that way, it's even less that I have to push, because pushing causes a lot of your texture. The way you knock down your dents and your crowns is way more important than the way that you push. If you knock down correctly, you can repair a lot of this dent without having to push, and that's kind of a beautiful thing. So on this next little bit, what you're gonna see is I'm gonna go back to the VIP, but the directional knockdown. Now that one's really nice because you can push metal around where you want it to go, and I'll teach you how to do that at realworldpdr.com. But what I'm looking for here is everything to come down nice and smooth because if you're familiar, one event is something that I teach. As close to one event as I can get this dent, it's gonna be a lot easier to work. So I just switched to a BB style tip, which I'm not gonna stay on for very long. Right now, I'm just kind of testing the waters, seeing how this is gonna push for me. Another thing that I found with these BB tips is I'm really starting to like them. You can actually use some of those stand liner techniques that I teach you at, you guessed it, realworldpdr.com, and get some of that sliding thing. So whenever I go to reestablish this body line, I actually won't be rolling with that stand liner tool like you might expect. I'm actually sliding. I'm doing it right now, sliding through that body line to keep it sharp. And you know that I like to reestablish a body line somewhere before the halfway point of a dent. That way it doesn't look too round for me. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is take off that glue that we put on earlier because I don't need such a soft push anymore. So coming up, what you're gonna see is the interior view of me using this stand liner tool. So I'm not exactly 100% sure why everybody loves this so much, but you've requested it and I am nothing if not a people pleaser. This is all for you people, all for you. So here's a bunch of me doing this kind of stuff. And now here it is. So what you're gonna see here is I'm gonna be using a lot of those rolling techniques that we talk about on Real World PDR, the dragging techniques, and some direct push. So all of these are really, really great stand liner techniques. They do take a while to get used to and there is a learning curve. So as you can see here on the screen, I'm using that rolling technique right now. The reason that's a beautiful technique is that as you roll that thing, you can't really put any direct pushing type of texture. Here, you can see me using some direct push and some of that interior blending. Now, I'm not doing it as Kaz might teach it because I am using my hand to guide it. The way Kaz teaches it is a lot more kind of loosey-goosey, but this little bit of video here, I'm actually doing a full video lesson on from the outside and the inside at realworldpdr.com, realworldpdr.com, realworldpdr.com. You guys picking up on that yet? This is something that's going to be on realworldpdr.com because everything's at realworldpdr.com. Want to learn how to do dents? realworldpdr.com. That's where I would go. So check it out. Here I am doing some of that dragging technique as well. Now this isn't a sharp enough tool to get it on that body line. So that's why I use that BB tip that you saw me using earlier whenever I was trying to reestablish that body line. So the tool that you probably could do that with would be like a pirate hook from stand liner because it does have a sharper side on it. So if you're one of the people that has asked for that bit of content from the inside using stand liner techniques, maybe watch that one 3 or 4 times over right there. Here's what we're left with after I get done using those techniques. You can see that I'm keeping everything roughly one event. There is a little bit of texture, but nothing really out of hand, nothing that looks too scary. And at this point, this dent is looking very, very repairable. So a little more of that and you see this in front of you. So now I'm gonna start doing a lot of hammer work. Now there is a new product that I'm wanting to show you guys and it's gonna be coming after this. So you guys don't use your hammers, you guys don't use your knockdowns near enough. The thing is, when you get that textury look that you're so often getting, 9 times out of 10, I can walk over with my hammer or my knockdown and I can smooth that thing out to the point that it's starting to make sense in your head again. That's what you're missing. So if you could take anything away from this video, use your hammer and use your knockdown more. Now, next what you're gonna see is a really, really cool new product that has been put out by Dent Stuff. And as a matter of fact, Dent Stuff, thank you guys, has sent me some samples of these that I'm giving away to the next 4 members of realworldpdr.com. That means if you sign up at realworldpdr.com and you're one of the next 4, you're gonna get one of these absolutely free. They retail for about 60 bucks a piece. Boom, that takes care of your tuition. Now, what this is it's called a palm blender. So without using it like a normal hammer and knockdown or a paddle and a knockdown, you just use it in your hand as you can see me doing here. It's great for knocking down those waves, or if you get yourself in a situation where you don't have enough room to swing a paddle or something like that. I have been using the shit out of this tool and it comes in 2 different sizes. It'll be a surprise which one you get. There's a bigger size and a smaller size. This one's a smaller. I have been using the balls off of this tool. So just because this is some YouTube content, we're gonna finish it up right here. You can see where we're going with it. There's still a little bit of a ripple in there on black, nothing really too serious. The repair itself turned out really well. I hope you guys take something away, and if you need more info on repairs like this, check out realworldpdr.com. This is the greatest online training, so I'm told, available for PDR. Check it out.